Hi everyone, welcome to the Life Moments podcast, and we're here to talking about self-improvement, testimonials, motivational lessons, and real-life lessons. My name is Gerard Galing, your host, and thank you so much for tuning in and for being here. If you are a new listener of the show, then welcome to the podcast. And if you are a true listener of the podcast, then welcome back to the show. And you can check out the other amazing episodes that you want to learn about motivations and self-improvement. So on this episode, we are here and we have a special guest. He studied Bachelor of Science in Marine Transportation at John B. Laxton Foundation Maritime University in the year 2009. He is a former overseas worker and he is a people development coach. And of course, he is a successful entrepreneur. So let me introduce you our guest for tonight, Mr. Gerard Christian Claudio. Hey, sir, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gerald. Welcome. Thank you so much for having me here.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, and I'm actually excited. This is my first time to be invited in a podcast.
Wow, it's your first time. First time ko din po no, na makilala kayo, sir. And
Dito pa tayo nagkita, no?
yes, I know that this is a not an accidentally na nag-meet po tayo ngayon. And I'm very excited for this episode that because I'm also aspiring speaker like you and nakita ko po sa inyo yung parang ideal self ko rin na maging speaker someday. So, ano na po yung mga pinagkakaabalahan po natin ngayon, sir? Bukod po
I'm
sa pagsi-speak and anything.
speaking is just part of my daily thing kasi I'm building an organization. So yung nature ng business ko is building people. So we and transactions as well. So speaking is part of that. And aside from that, I'm also a father of of a 3-year-old daughter, and I'm also one of the church deacon ng church namin. So
Mm,
yun yung mga bagay na pinagkakaabalahan ko right now. But I think
wow.
a big chunk of my time is really focusing on building our business. So that's what I'm busy.
Wow
Not
po.
actually busy, but giving really time kasi I believe in what I do. I believe in um the results that I'll be achieving more sa ginagawa ko.
Wow, that's very nice, sir. Before we start our episode, so I have a question. Uh, Parang ano pa lang, pop-up question lang po, sir. So, if you have only 24 hours in this world, what are the things that you will do?
Oh, that's wow, Miss Universe question. If I have 24 hours in this world, um, I'll be sharing my faith to people because I believe that's the most important message that I could share to people. I believe so. That I think that's one thing that I'll be doing, sharing my faith to other people, and um, believing that this life is a preparation to what we have after life. You see, my faith is not a part of my life. My faith is my life. Eh. So whatever I have right now, I owe it to the Lord. So I think that's the greatest message that I could give to people. And second, siguro, if I have 24 hours, that's one. Number two, I'll be thanking all the people that have helped me throughout my life. Alam mo yun, pasasalamatan ko sila. And thirdly, what else? I think those yun lang yung dalawa. I think yun yung dalawang bagay na naisip ko so far na gagawin. I think those are important. Be grateful at the same time sharing my faith to other people.
Wow, uh, that's wonderful answer, sir. So, eto na po mismo yung pinakasimula ng episode sa question na to, sir. So, can you tell us your short or brief background about you, Sir Gerard Claudio?
Kasi I'm a former seafarer. Dati pa ako nagbabarko. And I'm a third generation OFW in our family. But currently, I shift my focus to building my business because I believe that time is more important than money. So I find a way and I find an opportunity na hindi ko kailangan i-compromise yung time ko sa family ko. But at the same time, um, having that kind of lifestyle and income na meron ako habang nagbabarko ako. So I think that's really important kasi uh, I grew up in the idea na na kailangan lumabas ka ng bansa, you have to go abroad and to really sacrifice. And true enough, when I became an OFW, it was really a true sacrifice. Sacrifice talaga siya. Kaya sobrang bilib ako sa mga kaibigan ko, family ko, relative ko na talagang they really decided to go out of the country, leave their family, and earn for their family. So that's why when I become an entrepreneur, that has been my passion, that has been my drive to really bring as many people as I can to the idea na hindi na kailangang iwan yung career nila or hindi na kailangang iwan yung family nila to really earn or have a better life. Ika nga Gerald, kung tatanungin yung mga negosyante, ang pera daw nasa Pilipinas, hindi nasa ibang bansa.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier that you are a former seafarer. Ano po yung seafarer, sir? Ang
Yun yung
pagkakauno.
so, pag sinabi mo kasing seaman, yun, seafarer.
Ah, okay.
So, depende sa kung saang department ka na belong. Alam mo yun, you are part of a running vessel. Alam mo yun, you're part of that. So, depende kung nasa deck ka, engine ka, or nasa galley ka, or kung nasa cruise ship ka, kung saang department ka na belong. So, iba't iba yung trabaho rin. But I belong to the deck department. In short, no, sa layman's term, kami yung nagda-drive ng barko. Yeah, yung gano'n, parang kayo nagda-drive ng barko. So, kumbaga, yung career ko is, the highest position that I could get is to be a master mariner or kapitan sa barko. That's seafarer.
Wow, that's great, sir. And what was the great experience nyo mismo dun sa pagiging seafarer ninyo? Kung mahirap ba, ubo, or super stress or Swiss, or very stress po talaga yung naramdaman nyo?
My career before taught me a lot. Number one, it taught me leadership. Kasi you have to lead people rin. Kahit na hindi ganun kadami, but you have a group of people that you have to lead. Most of them has more experience than me. Most of them are older than me. So, putting me in the position is kind of like intimidating at first kasi mas marami silang alam sa akin, but I was the one commanding them. No? That's number one, leadership. Number two, what I learned is adversity quotient. I don't know if you've heard of the term adversity quotient. The ability to respond or the ability to think in the middle of pressure. Yun yung adversity quotient. Yung kaya mo mag-solve ng problem kahit gaano ka-pressured. So, yun yung isang bagay na natutunan ko. No? Number three, discipline. Yun yung ikatatlong natutunan ko rin. When I say discipline, yun yung no matter how you feel, you need to go up. You get up and to go to your job, to go to your work. No, and number four is situational awareness. If you would talk to seafarers or yung mga nagbabarko, kasi wala naman dong hospital sa barko namin, wala namang bumbero doon, wala namang kami lahat pag may emergency kami nagre-respond rin. So very important sa amin yung situational awareness. Yun yung mga natutunan ko sa career ko. So I'm really grateful being a seafarer as well. I think most people don't understand na minsan pag sabi nating seaman, akala natin dollars lang, chocolate, gano'n na naiintindihan natin. Where in fact, the career itself is really tough. It's really a tough career. I think isa sa mga pinakamahirap na part ng career ko that time is to really leave my family. To really leave my family. Yung isang bagay na pinakamahirap. No? I can adjust when it comes to physical pressure, kaya ko mag-adjust. Pero I think ang isa sa mga nakikita ko rin, no, kahit sa mga matatagal na nagbabarko, yung emotional pressure. Emotional pressure. Emotional stress. Minsan, syempre, kung may pamilya ka, may mga problems kayo sa family nyo, you were not there. Alam mo yun? Minsan, natutuliro ka kung ano nangyayari sa family mo. Alam mo yun? Diba? So, yun yung isang bagay. And also, ang isa sa mga challenge din sa barko is hindi mo alam kung sino yung mga kasama mo sa barko. So, yung mga tao
Mm.
na you get along with or you work with is hindi mo napipili. So, pag merong kang kasama na hindi magandang ugali, alam mo yun, or has a difficulty of adjusting with, so it's really a tough contract for you. So, yun lang naman. No? Well, aside
Oh.
from Baguio and all, Alon, so it's really a mix of ano. But overall, it's really an amazing career to develop your those things na sinabi ko kanina.
Wow, that's all the very, very good, interesting. So, since you are a former seafarer, so ano po yung pumasok sa isipan ninyo kung ano, paano po kayo naisipan na maging entrepreneur?
Yeah, again, I'm a third generation OFW. I'm a third generation OFW. Lola ko OFW, parents ko OFW. I'm an OFW. And since when I was young, palaging tumatatak sa isip ko, why do my parents not have to leave? Why do they have to leave? Why do they have to leave us? And naiintindihan ko yung point na kasi kailangan nila magtrabaho for us. So as young as I was thinking outside the box and I think, can I change this? Can I do something different other than what I used to see?
Mm.
Yung nakagisnan ko kumbaga. So I was in the middle of my career actually. Sobrang amazing lang nung nakasama ko sa barko, kapitan ko, mga kasama ko, even yung company that I was working with. They're giving me a very good salary that time. I was so young. So almost every year napapromote ako and all. But one day, I just woke up and asked myself, do I want to do this for the rest of my life?
So you are yung parang meron kang gustong tahakin pa nung seafarer pa lang po kayo, and then you have to realize more about more challenge of life, and then sobrang yung parang gusto nyo pang maka-step up din po, no?
Yes, more than the stepping up and doing more in life, that's one thing. But I think klaro sa akin kung ano yung gusto kong tahakin eh. I think ang gusto ko kasing tahakin talaga is I really wanted to spend my life doing things that matter most, and I wanted to spend my life building my family na hindi ako absent. Hindi ako absentee father, hindi ako absentee husband. Clear sa akin 'yun.
Wow, it's fab.
Or in any way ko siya magagawa, hindi ko alam that time. Until my friend shared to me an opportunity and he shared to me the business opportunity na shinare niya sa akin. And the first thing that came up to my mind is bakit ngayon ko lang siya narinig? Alam mo yun, the idea of, I don't know if you heard of term time freedom. Narinig ko na, that was the first time I heard it. That was the first time I heard passive income and all these terminologies. Sabi ko, I think ito yung hinahanap ko. So from there on, I decided, but the journey wasn't really abrupt, like 180-degree turn for me. It was a process as well. Marami ako nakita. I was searching. I was asking questions. I was attending events. I was attending meetings to really understand what this is. So eventually, I came up with my mind and said, you know what, I want to do this, and because I have a goal in mind.
Wow, so
I have a goal in mind.
so you're searching everything na all of your questions that you're searching for your time and effort. Kumbaga, sir, nung nasa work pa lang po kayo as a seafarer, parang may something kayo na hinahanap, pero hindi nyo mahanap. Parang ganun po, na hindi nyo lubusan na, na malaman kung ano talaga yung tunay na meaning ng struggles. And all of the kinds of struggles have a also parang meaningless po sa inyo. Pero yung friend po na sinasabi nyo na nag-share sa inyo ng about business, parang dun po kayo nag-open-minded about freedom, about time, on how to manage your time and effort. Ganun po, sir. Super ganda po nun, sir. Yung parang you're searching everything but you didn't know the answer. But if you are transitioning into a new life or a new stages like entrepreneurship, parang ito na mismo yung parang hinahanap mo. Parang ganun po, sir.
Agree. The moment I understand what will I gain from being an entrepreneur, I shift. I decided to shift. I decided to shift. Not because I hate my career. That's not the point. It's just that kung tatahakin ko yung pagiging seafarer for the rest of my life, I know the end point already. Kasi nakita ko na sa makasama ko sa barko eh. Nakita ko na sa... Kaya nga, Gerald, one of my mentors taught us this principle. Sabi niya, kung gusto mo daw malaman kung ano yung magiging future mo sa ginagawa mo, tingnan mo yung mga nauna sa'yo. So if you want their results, keep doing what you're doing. But if you don't want to, then change something.
Kumbaga, kung gusto mo yung ginagawa mo, syempre, bakit natin higil to kung mahal naman natin yung ginagawa natin or yung trabaho natin. So, you decided to shift.
Not more than the mahal natin. Kasi ako, mahal ko yung ginagawa ko as a seafarer. Mahal ko yung trabaho ko eh. Hindi yung point kung ayaw ko yung trabaho ko. I learned to love it actually in the process. It wasn't my first choice, but I learned to love it. But at the same time, yung gusto ko i-point out is yung end point pag ginawa ko siya consistently. Kasi iba yung love ko yung ginagawa ko, but at the end of the day, it will not yield to the kind of life that I wanted. Versus ito yung tatahakin ko. Kasi pag ginawa ko siya and I make it happen, I will be on the, yung end point ko is the kind of life that I want. The kind of life that I want. Kasi bakit, Gerald, no? Most people would always tell you, do what you love. But you know what? It's not all the time that you have to do what you love. Kasi, like for example, I'll give you an idea. If you're a gamer, naglalaro ka ng games, and yun yung gusto mong gawin, and parang feeling mo yun yung gusto mong gawin for the rest of your life. Kaya lang may responsibility ka, may family ka, may ano ka. Will you really focus on that? And just leave your, iwan mo yung course mo, iwan mo yung pag-aaral mo para maglalaro. Kasi ako gamer rin ako nung way back in nung elementary and high school ako. So, doing what I love is, yes, you have to find something that you need to love in what you do. But it's not actually like the end goal all the time, doing what you love. You get what I mean?
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, I think I decided to be an entrepreneur or decided to really shift. Kasi may goal akong gusto makuha.
Wow.
May goal akong gusto makuha.
Kumbaga, iba talaga kapag meron kang goal o meron kang dreams na gusto mong i-achieve talaga. Talagang gagawin mo talaga kung kailangan mo, gagawin mo talaga yung risk and then para mas mag-improve pa tayo kapag nag-take tayo ng risk and then syempre nakaangkla na rin mismo yung failures. Although nagfe-failures naman tayo, nagfe-fail naman tayo. Hindi lahat ng syempre ng successful hindi nagdadaan sa failure. So that's life. No? Kapag nag-take tayo ng risk, of course, to be a successful, talagang kailangan natin mag-take ng risk po. Tama po, sir.
Yes, I think ang gusto ko i-point out rin is not the point of failing or taking risk. Ang first step talaga is clarity. Clear ba sa akin yung gusto ko? Clear ba sa akin yung gusto kong tahakin? For example, we were talking kanina, nagsimula tayo. I was asking you, kailan ka nagsimula ng podcast and all. I believe clear sa'yo kung ba't mo ito ginagawa right now. For some people, they do podcasting because they wanted to just out of a hobby. So clear sa kanila yon. Some people, because they wanted to monetize it. Some people, may mas clear sila na message. So kailangan, when we do something, kailangan clear siya. It doesn't actually starts with love ko ba? But clear ba sa akin ko ba't kailangan ko siyang gawin? Tama. Bigyan kita ng idea now. Okay. Is being a parent hard or easy?
Hard.
It's hard. Tama? Is it always, nakikita mo ba yung parent mo na palaging, all the time, consistent silang palaging, I really love doing this. Di ba minsan may mga time na yung parents natin, nagsastruggle sila along the way. Pero
Yes.
bakit nila ginagawa? More than that they love because clear sa kanila na it is my responsibility and I decided to do this. Tama? I think we have to rewire our thoughts at some point. The loving of your work will follow if clear sa'yo kung ano yung pinakagusto mong gawin.
Mm.
Or I mean, clear sa'yo kung ano yung magiging endpoint ang ginagawa mo.
Kumbaga sir, yung you just to clarify first, if you want to do something, and then
Exactly.
to knowing
Tama yun.
purpose. Knowing purpose
Tama
po.
yun. So, yun talagang pinakaunang mong tatanungin sa sarili natin whenever we do something, bakit ko siya gagawin? Kaya nga one of my mentors taught me the principle, if you know your why, the how is easy. The failing, the struggle, the getting up after the struggle, after the failing, all of this will just follow if in the first place, clear sa atin kung ano yung pinaka-goal natin dito.
Siyempre po sir, kapag meron tayong kung meron tayong mismong goal na or meron tayong goal setting sa sarili natin. So, para mas kailangan po natin mag-improve pa para ma-achieve din natin 'yon.
Tama. Agree ako dyan.
So, sir, as you are a people development coach, so paano po kayo naging coach po or naging motivator?
Because I think I have to be one because I'm dealing with people all the time. I have to be one. I don't have a certificate, but I think I have to be one.
Yeah.
Because our business is building organization. So people come in our organization from zero, and our goal is to build them up for them to build their business as well. So I have to develop them from where they are to where they should be. So paano ako na-achieve yun? Of course, dumaan din ako kung saan sila dumaan. And with the right system, with the right community, and with the right attitude towards it. By the way, mention ko with the right mentors that surrounded me.
Wow.
Yun yung mga component.
Kumbaga po, there's so many ways po para maging motivator or motivational speaker. Yung iba po, nagsimula sa payong kaibigan. So parang ako po, parang gusto ko rin po maging speaker or maging motivational speaker kasi nagsimula po ako sa payong kaibigan. Yung may mga kaibigan ako nag-approach sa akin pag may problema sila, and then binibigay ko sila ng ilang advices and then tips para mas bago perspective nila. Pero bago po ako magsalita, and then let he or she talk first before I created an action. Kumbaga po sir, ginawa ko tong podcast na to para mas marami po akong ma-develop na especially speaking skills sa pagbibigay ng value sa ibang tao, and of course, mas maging role model na rin especially sa mga youth, sa mga kabataan po sir. Kaya po sir, parang nung napapanood ko kayo sa mga live ninyo, and parang na-inspire ako na magganto rin ako. In my previous episode din, nagla-live ako, nag-live din ako, pero parang hindi pa ako worth it sa speaking skills na live talaga. Pero unti-unti ko po na-develop yung speaking skills ko rin. Kagaya nyo po sir, na maging coach or maging speaker. So parang gusto ko rin na panoorin yung mga live ninyo para mas ma-develop ko pa yung speaking skills niyo, and para maging organized na rin yung lahat ng mga topics na i-discuss ko in the future episodes.
I really admire you kasi alam mo yun, sa age ninyo, you're doing this where most people are, alam mo sa edad ninyo, iba yung ginagawa where ikaw, and I also met another college na yun din ginagawa niya, nagpa-podcasting din siya. Alam nyo, keep going kasi you will never know how many people are inspired by your message. Diba? Hindi mo ma-underestimate yung pagbo-broadcast yun ng mensahe ninyo sa podcasting or in any social media platform. So keep it up.
Thank you po sir. Kumbaga po yung industriya po natin ng podcasting mas lalong nag-grow siya. ngayong present day. Kasi po sir, super swerte po natin na nandito pa tayo sa early days ng podcasting industry at ang dami nang nakikinig ng podcast ngayon at ang dami na ring gumagawa ng podcast ngayon. Kasi hindi tulad dati mga 2018, 2017, hindi pa masyadong kilala yung podcasting industry. So, simula nung ka-pandemic or since last year, ah doon pa lang po unti-unti nakikilala ang podcasting industry. So, we're very lucky na gumawa tayo ng ganitong show. And then, kapagka magbo-book po tayo ng guest, kailangan mo muna sila i-message or kailangan mo ng invitation and then kung saan pa magmi-meet, kung sakaling ano pa, hindi pa pandemic, syempre kung magge-guest po ako, kailangan po pa tayo magkita and then magkalayo pa po yung places natin. So, thankful din ako sa ganitong setup na kahit magkalayo, go pa rin po sa guesting ng when it comes to the podcast. And then kahit yung mga speakers talaga, yung mga professional na or successful people na may bubuk nila as guest, hindi po sila nagpapabayad. And then ang kagandahan din po nito is libre. Kapagka mag-book, kapagka magme-message ka ng guest, pag i-invite po natin sila, umoo po agad sila. Ganun po. And yun po ang kagandahan po sa podcasting. Kaya nag-grow na po siya unti-unti. So yun po sir, na napag-usapan po natin kung paano po kayo naging motivator. So, dako naman po tayo dun sa family man. I think nabasa ko sa post nyo yung about po sa wife ninyo. So, can you your love story with your wife and then kung ano po yung mga nangyari po sa inyo and then I think nakita ko po sa post nyo na yung parang magkasama kayo sa ilang mga speaking engagements,
Yeah.
love story.
I met my wife Cindy sa
Mm.
church. Amen. And one thing that I was attracted with her is her love for the Lord and her desire to really honor the Lord in her life. So yun ang importante doon na part. So and I was attracted to her, of course, physically. Part rin yun, no? And so I started to court her. I started to pursue her. So to cut the long story short, we had, I think, ilang taon kami? 2 years ata kami nasa courtship stage. 2 years siya niligawan and then sinagot niya ako. And then 4 years kami na naging mag-girlfriend, boyfriend. Eventually, we got married. One thing I think more than her love for the Lord is her desire na pareho kami ng desire na mag-build kami ng family together, na hindi kami kailangan maghiwalay. Because my father-in-law, which is I really respect talaga, sobrang taas ng respect ko sa father-in-law ko tsaka sa mother-in-law ko, na parents-in-law rin. Father-in-law ko kasi kapitan sa barko. So, he was sailing for 33 years. So, nag-uusap kami ni Cindy that time na gusto namin i-build yung family namin together. Na hindi ko kailangan mag-abroad. Kaya yung idea na naging entrepreneur ako, nag-okay siya. Because same yung goal namin. Yeah. So, let's talk about yung kung meron ako ibibigay na tip, if you're looking for a lifetime partner, ito nakuha ko to sa isang, if I'm not mistaken, kay Joy and Edric Mendoza ko to nakuha. There are 3 things na i-consider mo when you're looking for a lifetime partner. Number 1 is, sino yung master nyo? Okay, so yung number 1. I believe in me, we have to be on the same faith. We have to be in the same faith. Sino yung who rules my life should be somebody who rules her life as well. Yeah. Number 2, mission. One heart ba kami? Isa ba yung ano namin? Isa ba yung mission namin? Okay? And kasi I think importante yun, di ba? Importante yung ang what do you call this? na isa kami. Tama. And number 3, mate. Okay? So, doon ka na papasok sa mga preferences. Papasok doon yung preferences. Master, mission, and mate. Okay? So, and another thing na gusto ko rin isabihin, no, love is not an emotion. Love is not an emotion. For most, specifically if you're young people, we always say that love is something that I feel. Alam mo yun, you feel it. You feel it. Kasi yun yung ini-inculcate sa atin ng media eh. Manonood ka ng love story na feel ko. Okay? Love is not an emotion, it's a decision. Okay? It's a decision. Okay. Another tip. Never go inside, never commit into a relationship in a position of need. Never go into a relationship in a position of need. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, ginawa ko siya, nag-girlfriend ako, nag-asawa ako kasi kailangan ko ng pagmamahal. Nag-asawa ako, nag-girlfriend ako, nag-boyfriend ako kasi kailangan ko ng attention. Kailangan ko ng affection. Kailangan ko nito. Kailangan ko nito. Kailangan ko nito. If you position yourself in that, you will be in you're putting yourself in a disappointed position. Never enter a relationship in a position of need. Because relationship will not solve your insecurities, will not solve your unsettled issues in life. In fact, it will intensify that. So yun lang yung tip ko.
Wow.
Okay? You got to make sure. People say, I'm gonna get married if I'm ready, whatever. People thought that you have to be ready financially. That's one part. But I think you have to be ready to settle yourself first before you come inside. Papasok ka sa relationship na ready ka magbigay. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but dapat ka ready ka magbigay. Papasok ko dito kasi mahal kita. Papasok ko dito kasi gusto kong iparamdam sa'yo na mahal kita and I'm willing to give you. Okay? So, ganun siya. Hindi yung tipong papasok ko kasi I cannot, it's kind of like a romantic thing to hear like, I cannot live without you, like that. But if you're not careful about it, you come inside and you feel like naging codependent ka na dun sa tao. Hindi na healthy yun. Kasi people will disappoint you. Even your partners will disappoint you. Even your partners will disappoint you. Even your girlfriend or your wife or your husband or your boyfriend will disappoint you because we are two imperfect person couple. We are two perfect person coming into a relationship. You'll be disappointed. But I think one of the most amazing thing about marriage or being in a relationship, if you're really settled with yourself, you come inside the relationship and you pour your love into that relationship. That's the most amazing thing to do. That's an amazing thing to experience.
Wow.
Marriage is amazing. It's an amazing thing. We always hear marriage as something that's hard, struggling. Alam mo, di ba palaging ganun eh. Nakakarinig ka ba nun yung tipong pag nag-uusap na ng mag-asawa talaga, nako, mahirap, patience, ganun palagi, di ba? Totoo yun. Totoo yun. Ang hindi ko lang maintindihan, bakit ganun palaging fina-front? Bakit palaging mahirap? Bakit walang ganun palagi, di ba? Why not we front at first that, yes, of all the struggle, being married is an amazing thing to be married. It's an amazing thing to be married. It's an amazing thing to share your life to somebody else for the rest of your life till death both apart you. Alam mo yun? Yung ganun. So yun yung mga tips ko if you're looking for a meaningful relationship with somebody else.
Wow. Kumbaga po sir, natutunan ko sa inyo overall sa tips nyo. Kumbaga, kung papasok tayo sa relationship, make sure that we are fully prepared para pumasok sa relationship and of course to the commitment. So, akalamin po sa kabataan mismo na pumapasok na agad-agad sila sa relationship na parang hindi pa sila fully prepared. So, napapansin ko po yun sa mga ibang youths and sa mga iba kong mga kakilala. So, yung karamihan din sa mga kakilala ko rin na may mga anak na rin. So, parang nahubog sila sa love and relationship. Yung sa relationship nila, parang mas nahubog agad sila. Kumbaga, pumasok agad sila sa commitment. Yung parang hindi pa nila lubusang handa at saka hindi pa sila fully prepared. Kumbaga, pumasok na agad sila sa commitment. Kumbaga, maaga na sila nagkapamilya, gano'n. Yun po yung napapansin ko po sa karamihan sa kabataan ngayon. So, what is your opinion about that?
Never, okay. Wag na wag, here's another thing. Ang end point ng girlfriend at saka boyfriend relationship has to be marriage. If it's not marriage, don't enter that relationship. Yung boyfriend, girlfriend. Wag mong jojowain ng isang tao kung hindi mo siya pakakasalan. So, kung wala kang planong pakasalan, wag mong jojowain. If that's a term. Just remain real friends. Just be friends. Be respectful enough not to put any emotional what do you call this? Alam mo yun, parang fling-fling or ganun. Ang mindset dapat is, before ka pumasok sa girlfriend board, before mo ligawan, lalo na sa mga men, dapat nasa mindset mo yung pakakasalan mo siya. Right? For ladies, before ka mag-entertain ng lifetime ng boyfriend, no, yung mangliligaw, ang mindset mo palagi is, or before mo sagutin, ang mindset dapat is, pakakasalan ko ba to? Will this person be for the rest of my life? You see, that's two different worldviews. Another worldview will tell you that select and collect. Just try and try. But I will tell you no. No. Because dun usually nasisira. Dun usually nasisira. So, yun. So, it's always in the bound of marriage palagi. And never commit to any sexual relationship to somebody na hindi mo asawa. Because God has given sex as a gift for couple.
Yes, sir. Kumbaga po, sir.
I know it's a sensitive thing to say, especially in this generation. But I think I have to say that.
Yun po talaga reality when it comes to relationship is to marriage talaga. Kasi ang dami po talaga na pumasok agad sa commitment na mayroon silang anak, mayroon agad silang anak na hindi pa sila kasal. Pero may isang buong family na sila or nakakagawa na sila ng family nila.
Yeah. Now, if you're listening, if there will be people who will be listening right now who are in that situation, na medyo tough talaga yung situation nila because they made that decision and eventually hindi sila ready for the commitment. What I say? Like nag-aaral ka pa tapos may anak ka and yung partner mo pareho kayong nag-aaral. This is my suggestion to you. Forgive yourself. Okay? Don't be too hard on yourself. Second, embrace the consequence. Third, tayo. Face it. Embrace the responsibility. Embrace the responsibility that you have may anak ka na. And kung nag-aaral ka, I believe that your parents will support you with that. Work closely with your parents until such time that both of you will be mature enough and open enough to really be independent. Pero kailangan may plano kayo. I believe that some of you are devastated by ito yung nangyari sa amin and all. No? I already have this situation na nagkaanak na ako and face it. Just, it's a hard thing. It's really a hard thing. But I think it's better to face it that way. It's better to face it, how shall I say this? Face it and embrace that, and this is the start of my responsibility. So, yun.
I get it po. You need to face the consequence. You need to face the commitment. Kasi pinasok nyo na yan and then hindi nyo na may babalik yan. So, you need to move forward, face it. You need to do the responsibility for your son or daughter.
Yeah. Ang gusto ko i-point out, wag tatakbuhan.
Yes.
Ang gusto ko i-point out, wag tatakbuhan. Because um, the last thing that you wanted to do is takbuhan yung mga nangyari. You will never grow in life if you do that. And I think it's not a civil thing to do. Takbuhan mo yung dapat, 'di ba? Face it. Panindigan natin 'yan. Work with the people that is willing to help you. Just absorb the consequences. Kung ano yung sasabihin ng iba, sasabihin ng parents mo, sasabihin ng mahal nyo sa boy, sige lang. Stand up. Pero importantly, forgive yourself. And say, I forgive myself. And I'll face this. Plan it. Plan it. Kasi I'm not that young, but I'm not that old. I'm not that young. I can see people in my age recover from that. So hindi devastated yung life mo simply because nagkaroon ka ng anak and then nag-aaral ka pa. I've seen people rise above that. So it's not the end of the world if that happens to you. Pero importante, huwag tatakbuhan ng responsibility.
Yes.
Face it. Again, ulitin ko, forgive yourself, work with the people that is willing to help you. Absorb yung mga consequences, yung sasabihin ng ibang tao. Number 3, have a plan. Embrace the responsibility. Have a plan. Huwag tatakbuhan kasi makaka-recover kayo.
Kumbaga,
And make that as the message to people that this is what happens if you do that. Right? So, you see, that's why ako very passionate talaga ako, Jer. Very passionate ako na gusto ko nandun ako sa anak ko. Nandun ako habang pinapalaki ko yung anak ko. Nandun ako habang pinapalaki ko yung family ko. Again, I don't want to be an absentee father. I don't want to be an absentee husband. Because I believe that I play a vital role in building my family. Not only finances. In building them up, nurturing them, securing them. And I cannot do that if I'm absent. If I'm there out and I go out there and work. That's my principle. That's how I see it. If there's one thing that we'll be focusing on is to strengthen families. To strengthen families. You strengthen marriage, you strengthen the family. You strengthen the family, you will strengthen the principles of the child. And it will have a lesser chances that would actually happen. Nakita mo yung structure ng family.
yes.
That's why I'm really passionate about that. I have a group every Friday. We have a men's group. We're opening the Bible. We're studying. Ang gusto kong i-build up sa mga men na kasama ko is leadership. Leadership ng men in the family. Yun ang gusto nating i-revive right now. Because we have a culture right now that looks at fathers as less significant. We are in a generation right now that we see most fathers are not actually functioning the way that's supposed to be functioning in a family. And we want to change that in our generation. I'm not blaming the previous generation. Okay, I'm not saying that we are better than they are. No, it's not the point. But my point is if there's something that I can improve, that's one thing I wanted to improve. I wanted to be a present father leading my family because yung sinasabi nating yung mga issues ng mga young people, that can be solved if we will empower families, if we will empower marriage, if we empower families.
Yes. Kumbaga, ma-improve pa po yan sa mga next generation po siguro kapag mas na-educate na po sila para ma-aware po nila yung mga previous generation na pumasok po agad sa commitment.
Yeah. Kasi I'm saying na kung doon ka na sa level na yon, huwag mong tatakbuhan. Face it. Kasi yung anak mo, yung bata, yun ang iniisip ko. They have to see parents that's not perfect, that's not successful, but a parent that is improving, that is fighting, that is willing to support them, yung hindi sila iiwan. I think that's more important. Kasi nakikita ng bata yun. Malalaman yan. Tatatak sa kanila yun.
You mentioned earlier that you are a leader of the disciples. Kumbaga nag-Bible study kayo every Friday. So what is your deepest meaning of leadership for you? Or what is the leadership for you?
Leadership, ito kay John Maxwell to, no, who who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Yun yung leadership. So leadership is, or a leader is somebody who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Another thing is leadership is making other uh, making other lives better by your presence. I mean, they are becoming better because of your presence. That's what leadership is. That's how I really see it. That's how I define it.
Wow, that's interesting. That very very interesting. So mostly po sa atin kasi karamihan din po ng youths na ang dami din po mga youth leaders na rin po dito na na, tumutulong sa mga communities, sa NGOs. Kumbaga sila parang tumutulong parang part na rin sila ng NGO na tumutulong sa community. And then kumbaga po sir, nakikita ko po na you're educating every individuals, hindi lang po about sa leadership, hindi lang po about sa educating people and youth para ma-avoid nila yung mga mistakes ng iba. Kumbaga, parang hindi nyo sila hinahayaan na maligaw na landas.
It has to be. If you can share to somebody to, I mean, a message that is very important, why will you keep it, right? That's why I think your platform is very good. Kaya ako, I'm also planning to launch my podcast in the next few weeks. Kaka-transfer lang kasi namin. So I'm planning to start. I'm actually excited, but at the same time, alam mo yun, this is a new thing for me. So nakaka-excite to really see
Wow.
mag-utilize rin.
I'm very excited for you, sir, that you are launching a podcast soon. So, abangan po natin yan.
Yes. So we'll see.
So, sir, kumbaga, nung napapanood ko po kayo sa live, about, napanood ko po kayo sa live niyo on how to deal with insecurities. So, nung na-explain nyo po nyo sa live niyo, can you tell us, in your perspective, or how to deal with your insecurities?
Number one, I think insecurity is really a heart issue. It's not what people does to you or did to you. I think it's heart issue siya. No? So it's something to do with how you view yourself. That's how I see it. So if you're gonna ask me how you're gonna deal with that, number one, I believe in this, that you go back. Ano ba yung simula ng lahat? Ano ibig ko sabihin? Because when you know who created you and how you were created and why are you created, I think it will give you a very good start. Kumbaga, nakatayo ka sa bato. Versus, kung tatanungin mo, saan ba ako nanggaling? Why am I here? We cannot even answer those questions. Usually, magiging confused ka. It will create confusion. Right? So I think it's important to have the clarity, importante, kung saan ba, sino ba, why am I even here? Why am I even here, di ba? So, kaya yung view ko of God created me in His own image and likeness is really striking for me when I learned that, when I realized that, when I learned that, when I discovered that, as I study the Word, I study the Bible, na-realize ko na, okay, yeah, God created me in His own image and likeness. He created me in his own image and he created me in his own image and likeness. It's in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. And he gave the mandate to people to subdue the earth. Ibig sabihin, to sustain life. So ibig sabihin, God didn't only created me in his own image and likeness with the intellect, with the emotion and the will. He also created me, given me the ability to produce life, meaning to say to produce something. So if I had a concern of insecurity, and yun yung i-embrace ko na principle, I believe that it will give me, it will stop me from comparing myself with others. Because I know I have my own path. Diba? Binigyan ako nito ng Panginoon. Binigyan niya ako. Kasi the last thing that you wanted to think about yourself is because you're nothing. Alam mo yun? Di ba minsan people will say, alam mo, I'm nothing. That's why people are depressed. People are down. They thought they're meaningless. There's no meaning to where I am right now. The pursuit can be meaningless, but the reason why you're here is not meaningless. There's a meaning. There's a purpose why you're here. So yun ang pinakasimula. Right? So when you deal with insecurities, I think that's the fundamental. That's the core of it. Who created you? Why you're created? And who is? I mean, diba? The moment that you know that, it will give you a sense of security in your heart. Give you a sense of security in your heart. You know, I'm not a product of accident. I'm not a product of some molecules bumped in together for billions of years. I'm not a product of that. I'm a product of a God who created me in his own image and likeness. That's how I view that. That's how I view that.
Wow, that's
And it will stop you from comparing yourself because right now in social media, it's so easy to compare yourself with others. So easy. So easy to see the likes and the shares and the posts and the comments and the photos and the Instagrammable shots. Alam mo yun? Tama? And you tend to look and you tend to evaluate your value on the basis of your social media posts and likes and shares and relevance. Your social media status, your financial status, your social status has nothing to do with your value. Your true value comes from the value was given to you by your creator. That's why it's really important to go back to that.
wow. Kumbaga po sir, yung kumbaga nakikita natin sa social media yung mga success ng iba, hindi sa sarili natin. Kumbaga, nako-compare natin yung sarili natin sa iba, sa pamamagitan nun sa mga shares nila, sa mga big success nila. And then, syempre, nakakaramdam din tayo ng inggit na bakit eka ako hindi pa nade-develop na ganito, hindi pa ako nagmo-move forward para dito. Kumbaga po sir, yung bagay na yun sir para gawin natin na motivation yung mga success nila, hindi po dapat natin i-compare yung sarili natin sa iba.
Okay. Tama. If you will be comparing, don't compare financial status, social status. Compare habits, attitude, mindset.
Good mindset.
Kasi people always look at success as kasi magaling siya, swerte kasi siya. Hindi eh. May set of thinking yan, may thought pattern yan para maging successful ka. May habit ka dapat na ma-build para maging successful ka. Yun yung i-compare mo. Hindi yung ay kasi siya may sasakyan ako wala. May sports car siya ako wala. May bahay siya ako wala. Dami niyang likes ako wala. Hindi mo alam kung ano yung tinrabaho ng taong yan para mo dumating dyan. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung sinakripisyo ng mga yan para dumating dyan. So, compare natin yung sacrifice. Ano ba yung na-sacrifice na versus sacrifice natin? Tapos, ang tanong dito is, are you willing to do the same? Kasi baka ma-shock tayo or magulat tayo sa trabaho na ginawa nila bago sila dumating doon and you would realize hindi ka pala willing gawin yun.
Comparing sacrifice. So, sir, how can you define happiness?
How can I define happiness? Wow, that's really a good question. Mapaisip muna ako paano ko sasagutin yan. Doing God's will? Living a life fulfilled because I'm aligned to His will. That's for me is happiness. I think that's happiness for me. Kasi when I say doing God's will, for me it's all part of my life. Family, relationships, career, everywhere, health, my mission. Doing God's will, knowing God's will, doing God's will, that's happiness for me.
Yes, that interesting is interesting. So, I have a something tricky question, sir. So, if you are a graduate in college, kung graduate kayo ng college, so which one is the best for you? Is it is to follow your parents' will or your passion?
That's a good question. And I think that's a very, very relevant question on sa mga young people. I think this is not an issue of passion or practicality. For me, this is an issue of obedience. It's an issue of obedience. What do I mean by that? You're still under the care of your parents. You ought to obey them. You ought to obey them because they are your parents. Hindi nagkamali yung Panginoon nilagay ka sa ganyang pamilya. So you ought to obey. This is not an issue of passion or practicality. This is an issue of obedience. You got to learn to obey. You got to learn to obey. Okay, let me give you a few practical points that. For example, gusto ka mag-nursing ng nanay at tatay mo. Okay, dapat alam mo yung goal ng nanay at tatay mo, di ba? And then may passion ka. Mag-nursing ka. Go for nursing. After that, find a job, build up your finances, take another course. At least satisfy mo yung gusto ng parents mo. Until such time that it's your parents' money, it's your parents' call. It's your parents' money, it's your parents' call. Well, I can find scholarship. Then find scholarship. If you want to. Pero habang pera ng nanay at tatay mo yan, you have to follow. Pero I think this is not an issue of pera ng nanay at tatay mo. Until such time that you are in the level of where you can decide, obey them. I think it's something to do with obedience. Something to do with obedience. Let me tell you my story ba't ako naging seaman.
Yes. Go, sir.
It's not my first decision. It never been in my mind that I'll be a seafarer. Hindi siya naging path ko. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be a civil engineer. I wanted to be on that position. But I don't know, parang ganun. I wanted to be yeah, but that time, tatlo kami sa college and we were struggling financially. And para makapag-aral ako, kailangan kong mag-change ng path. So, one of the schools here in Iloilo offered a scholarship, full scholarship. May allowance ka pa, may board and lodging ka pa, may uniform ka, and everything will be provided. Kaya ako naging seaman. I took that path because I want to help my family. I want to help my family. I don't want to be a burden. The question ko sa'yo ganito. If you'll follow your passion, kamusta yung situation ng family mo? Kasi iba-iba sitwasyon natin ng pamilya natin. If you are in a situation where you had the ability to choose and your parents was asking you, then praise God for that. Praise God for that. If your parents would tell you na ba yung gusto mo, sige, go tayo dyan. Praise God for that. But if you are in a situation like me, make up your mind. I mean, simple lang naman, di ba? Simple lang. It's not really actually a complicated thing. It's not actually a complicated thing. Pero kung clear sa'yo yung passion mo, ito talaga yung gusto kong gawin, hindi mo mawala sa'yo yan eh. After mo kunin yung course na plano ng parents mo sa'yo, then kunin mo yung course mo. Importante lang, panindigan mo. Yun na naman ang akin eh. You make that decision solid. You got to make sure that you stand for that decision no matter what happens. I believe it's not an issue of whatever I want minsan after niyan eh. Minsan takot na talaga tayo minsan mag-come up sa decisions natin. Takot tayo, kaya ko bang panindigan to? Tama. Yun na naman ang takot natin. But if you're in that situation, then obey your parents. I really think, again, this is not an issue of practicality or passion for me. At first, if you're young people, if you're young, no, nasa age ka pa na nasa under ka pa sa custody ng parents mo, then obey your parents. If you don't have that chance and opportunity na magpumili. Pero ito na lang, bigyan kita ng idea. No? If you're listening to me right now and you feel like, bakit ganito? Bakit wala akong anong pumili? Well, pasalamat ka, pasalamat ka at least nakakapag-aral ka. Alam nyo ba, I don't know if this is still relevant to statistics na to. Out of 10 Filipinos na nagsisimula ng elementary, isa lang dyan na makaka-college. Isa lang dyan makaka-graduate ng college. So if you have that opportunity na nag-decide sila sa'yo for that course, look at in the brighter side, be grateful meron kang makakapag-college ka pa. Because not all Filipinos has that opportunity. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes. Wow, that was good. not all about practicality. It's all about obedience. So, if given a chance to talk to your 18-year-old self, what are the messages that you have to ano yung mga bagay na sasabihin mo sa kanya? Sa 18-year-old self niyo?
If I'll talk to my 18-year-old self, I'll tell him, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Take every relationship important. Be more forgiving. Be more forgiving of yourself frequently. And never let that dream of yours, never let that dream of yours just perish away. Fight for that. Fight for that.
Wow, okay. That that was a great message. So kahit ako 18-year-old na makakapakinig ng ganyang message, ah syempre mabubuhayan yung diwa ko. Ganyan. Nakakabuhay ng diwa. Yan. So yun, that's all for this episode. Thank you very much, Sir Gerard Claudio or Coach G. And so final, um, please invite all of our listeners, so all of our audience here, your socials, and invite them. And where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok, though it's not that updated all the time. Also on Instagram, Gerard Christian Claudio. Medyo mahaba lang yung pangalan ko. Hindi ko kasi alam kung kung siya paikliin. I'm also in Facebook, Gerard Christian Claudio rin yung pangalan ko. So just find it with the CHRISTI and yung Christian. And then Gerard is GARARD, not Gerald. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can find me there. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have live there. And I'm planning to start my podcast soon, Tuesday and Thursday. Siguro yung posting ko rin. So yun yung magiging ano natin. So connect tayo, and I hope I find you there, guys. You can message me personally if you find this, and I would love to hear from you. And thank you, Gerald, no, for inviting me here. And for those young people na nakikinig right now, never waste your life to something that's, alam mo yun, walang value. But make sure that you do things that will add value to people. God bless.
Wow, thank you very much, Coach G, for accepting our invitation. And yeah, so abangan natin yung podcast ni Coach G, no? Para sabay-sabay tayong matuto at motivate at mabago ating life perspective. So thank you very much, Coach Gerald, Christian Claudio, and guys, don't forget to tuning into our podcast to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. Just search the Life Moments with Gerald Kaling. And please like, follow our Facebook page, The Life Moments with Gerald Podcast, my Instagram at Gerald Kaling 1028 and at The Life Moments Podcast, my Twitter at Gerald Kaling, and my TikTok at Alpha Gerald 1028. And don't forget to please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Gerard Kaling, and click the notification bell and select all to make you updated. So this is Gerard Kaling. Say goodbye, as I always say. Just keep spreading positivity, stay motivated, and live well. So this is the Life Moments Podcast. Yes, it's yo. Kamsahamnida. Take care and stay safe. See you on the next one. Peace out. Padayon.